Greetings, Planeswalker. I sense that you are in need of a new challenge.
Jesus, where the... How did you... I mean, depends. What kind of challenge?
You will be required to spin this wheel, where on it are all of the available colored identities on Arena, barring the 4 color combinations. When a section has been selected, you must find a commander within that color identity, assemble your team's strategy, as well as remove the slice from the wheel, as much as done. As for restrictions, you may not choose the most prevalent or popular commanders in the identity, and you must not choose your fellow Planeswalkers to command your army.
Can't be meta, no Planeswalkers even though it's Brawl. Got it. Sounds easy enough.
As many have thought before you, I am glad you have accepted. Now, let's spin the wheel!
Morning, Sunshines. It's Felix again. Let's kick this off by doing what the hooded dude says and spin the wheel. Really now? Bant. It's a good thing we got Enchantress out of the way already. I suppose being 1 color off of last week was bound to happen, but I bet you didn't expect it happening this soon. Let's take a look at some options, and let me tell you, I'm upset. Why? Because there's almost twice as many commanders in Bant as there is in Sultai. There's a variety of strategies too. Arcades and Chulane are clearly the big hitters in this color combination, Arcades being my favorite. Falco isn't far off though, and neither is his bestie, Rigo. I don't think Gorion has enough options with the adventure mechanic, although, what's his name? Vexir? Golems have some support, but Seek is an alchemy exclusive mechanic. The only real options that are left are Lagrella, Shanna, and... Oh, piss off now, why are you Bant? If you saw the last episode, my heart burned with fury when I looked through the list and saw Takasia as Bant. Name a white Surveil card. If anyone said Dakon Shadowslayer or Etherrot Page, man, get the hell out of here. Lagrella is giving me those Yorion vibes, but like, way worse. So I guess I gotta go with Shanna, Purifying Blade. Okay, hear me out for a second. When I made this deck, I had not seen one person play Shanna, so I figured I'd give her a shot. Only people are actually starting to appreciate her. With that being said, upon review of the footage, I didn't win a single game. So I gathered some more games. And this one's gonna be like the half transition into the madness that is to come. Although I didn't add any cards or edit the deck at all. Speaking of deck, let's talk about the strategy. It's pretty straightforward. We want to gain life and have some mana available to spend on our end step. We also need some ways of protecting Shanna since the trigger only happens on our end step. Nothing is worse than gaining 10 life and having her killed second main before we can really capitalize. Gaining life is pretty straightforward. We have the whenever a creature ETBs package, some lifelink, food tokens, those are a sneaky way of gaining some life. Effectively, you just type life into the search bar and bam, 2/3 of the deck. Since Shanna allows us to draw as many cards as we have mana most times, we're going to add a bunch of ramp that also lets us play additional lands, so that way we're not discarding to hand size often. It's also a win-win since we can utilize that mana afterwards to just draw more cards. The only thing that we really need to look for are some win conditions. With all that life and card draw, it's more than likely we'll be able to live long enough to dig for whatever ones we need. Let's have a variety of options here. We can make big bodies with things like Cleric class. Maybe we want to go wide and use all that mana, like with March of the Multitudes. Throw in some extra filler just cuz, and the deck's looking something like this. Who would have thought? Mostly white and green, with a whopping 2 mono blue cards. There's no Heliod because that guy's annoying, and bullshit. And my pride kind of outweighs everything else. And don't ask me about the Tameshi. I think I added it because it could bounce lands that made me gain life. Maybe that's the card you'll remove when you copy this deck list from the description below. Remember though, we want everyone to have a deck that's at least a little bit their own. So lose something that you don't agree with, or replace something that you don't have the wild cards for. Remember how I said they'd be shorter intros? Let's get this show on the road. Game 1, and the opener for it is okay, I guess. We have the colors, and if we hit one more land, we'd be fine, but I don't think I actually want to take the chance right now. Free mulligan. Oh, this one's even worse. Time to go to 6. Okay, this one we can manage. We can fetch the green, and we'll have Shanna to give us draw 3 on turn 4, if nothing else. We'll bottom the Verdant Sun's Avatar. Opponent's going to lead with a Plains. Let's be safe and fetch a forest with our Fabled Passage. Opponent Plains into Reckoner Bankbuster. Let's play our Tranquil Cove and gain a life. Looks like our opponent misses their land drop. They'll use the Bankbuster's ability to save themselves and play a Plains. Then, a Clockwork Drawbridge. We manage a land, so let's play it and a Lunarch Veteran. Opponent's going to play another land and run out their commander, Golma, the Shaper. They'll use it to crew the Bankbuster and swing for 4. Copycat time. We're going to play our pathway on the Hengegate side, and then our commander, Shanna, Purifying Blade. That'll gain us a life, and on end step, we'll use it to draw a card. Luckily for us, we're going to gain 3 more life because the opponent's Swords to Plowshares Shanna. They follow that up by swinging for 3 with their commander, conjuring a Tempered Steel, and making a mirror. They finish their turn by playing a Black Blade Reforged. We should get another blocker going, but we're greedy, so let's play Mirari's Wake instead. Golma immediately makes me regret my decision making by playing that Tempered Steel and swinging in for 6, conjuring another and making 1 more mirror. Let's Plains and get this Elder Gargaroth out, and realize we have no more green. Play a Fountain of Renewal before sending it back, and on our end step, opponent will draw another card from the Bankbuster. They begin by equipping the Black Blade to Golma, doing the attack, conjure, create a mirror thing. We're going to double block, and since I need a helmet, we'll draw a card instead of making a beast from the Gargaroth trigger. Oh man, Boon of Safety. Opponent's going to put a shield counter on their commander. We're going to need to put the Ancient Green Warden out, which lets us play Fabled Passage again, fetching a forest. We'll finish up with a Haywire Might. Opponent misses another land and plays a Pristine Talisman, swiftly followed by Michiko's Reign of Truth, making Golma a 17/17? Yikes. They swing out this time, conjuring and creating still. We'll block like this, and before damage, sack the Might to destroy the Black Blade? This one's getting spooky now. We're going to play this pathway on the Bark Channel side. Let's dump our hand by playing our commander, following it up with an Accomplished Alchemist, and finally, a Circle of Confinement targeting Golma. On end step, we'll draw 2 to make it look like we can do something else. Reign of Truth trigger, targeting a mirror. Then, opponent plays Maul of the Skyclaves, targeting the same mirror, swinging. Oh, there goes our Green Warden. At least they end their turn? Really now, didn't see that one coming. Let's sack our Fountain of Renewal to draw. Opponent's going to use the Clockwork Bridges ability on Shanna to tap her down. We manage a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We'll also play the other Shanna, Sisay's Legacy, to have another body and gain some more life. On the end step, we'll draw... come on! At least one's a Gauntlet. Reign of Truth is going to transform into Portrait of Michiko, and then opponent dumping some of the Tempered Steels before swinging out with the mirrors. Let's chump 1 and block everything else on the other. They'll order blocks like this, and we'll take 9, losing Selesnya Shanna and the Veteran. Remember that helmet thing? Well, I'm gonna get back Haywire Might with Late for Dinner, then disturb the Veteran to make a Luminous Phantom. Finishing up by sacking the food token so we can draw 4, getting nothing of any real value. Opponent hits the Plains finally and taps the Phantom down before combat. I'll have to sack the Might to get rid of the Maul, or else it'll continue to be a problem. And then I'll block the portrait with everything. Before damage, they use Sky Whaler's Shot, destroying the Alchemist for some reason instead of Shanna, which is saving us right now. We'll make some mana and channel a Gonjo, Seed of the Empire, to do enough damage to trade. They'll finish up the turn by playing a Stone Coil Serpent for 1, making it a 7/7. We can't do much here, so let's play a land, our commander, Azusa's Many Journeys, so we can play an additional land. And then we'll end our turn with an Overgrown Art. Looks like they'll tap down the Phantom again. Then playing and equipping a Cliffhaven Kite Sail to the Stone Coil. Playing another Tempered Steel, and swinging in. Instead of dragging this out any further, we'll sack the arches before blocks, and then head to a local bike shop so we can get that damn helmet. Back now, ready to roll. Took a few months between games, but we found a tasty game too. This opener's not terrible. We've got our colors. This cleric class helps up the life gain. This Griffinary with a Johnny pretty much makes his +1, gain 3 life, make a 2/2 Griffin. Let's keep. We're going to lead this one with a pathway on the Boulder Loft side so we can follow it up with the cleric class. Oppo is going to play Argoth, Sanctum of Nature, and send it back. Let's shock into Breeding Pool and play a Griffinary. They'll Forest into an Elvish Reclaimer. Another land. Okay. Let's play a Dreamroot Cascade and Shanna. Then pass. Opponent destroys our Aerie with Atrax's Fall. And then plays another Forest. We're going to play a Mana Confluence so that we can upgrade our Cleric class to level 2, making it so whenever we gain life, we also get to put a counter on a creature we control. So when we do things like swing with a Life Linker, we can put a counter on it. Opponent playing an Elvish Archdruid, then playing a Lotus Field, making them sack 2 forests before passing. We'll start by playing a Broker's Hideout, sacking itself and gaining life to find a forest. We'll put a counter on Shanna, and then play and equip the Shadow Spear to attack for 6, with trample this time. Getting another counter in the process. Our opponent plays their commander, Nissa, Resurgent Animal. They'll tap the Archdruid for 3 green, using 2 of it on an Explore, then play a Forest, which adds another, thanks to Nissa. Playing the Seiju, drawing a card and getting another green. Playing the Great Henge. Then a Leaf Crowned Visionary. Hey, wait a second, is this a landfall deck or an elf volume? Let's play a Tranquil Cove, putting a counter on Shanna. Then, destroy that Great Henge with Heliod's Intervention. We won't attack this time, and on end step, we'll draw 2. It's gotta be Elf Ball, right? Nissa plays a Beast Whisperer, drawing, and then a Scute Swarm, so it's landfall. Wait a second, because of that Lotus Field, they play their 5th land, making it just a regular insect. Then they end their turn by playing Nissa Vital Force, -3ing her to get a Great Henge back from the bin. Thanks to Cleric class, gaining us an additional life, this Authority of Consuls needs to hit the battlefield to effectively neutralize the Scutes. It could get out of hand, so let's play the Paradise Druid and the Ajani the Great-Hearted, upticking him for 3 life and putting a counter on Shanna before passing it over. Nissa leads with the Great Henge again, because they don't have enough draw engines by the look of it. Then they uptick, animating the Lotus Field, playing Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia, drawing 3 and putting a counter on her, and Shanna as a byproduct. they're going to attach a Kenrith's transformation to our commander. Then playing and cracking a Fabled Passage as land for turn. Adding 2 green, starting the duplication train on the Scute Swarms. Luckily for us, we get a counter on each of them as well as 2 life. The opponent's then going to play a Spring Bloom Druid, sacking a land, finding 2 forests, duplicating the Scutes again, giving us many counters and twice as much life. They'll end this monster of a turn by playing a Caged Sun, naming green, and then a Tireless Tracker. Oh man, not this again. I should play the Soul of Emancipation just to get rid of the Sun and Kenrith's transformation. So, greed it is! Mirari's Wake! We'll attach the Shadow Spear to the Druid. For some reason, down tick a Johnny because I needed 1 more counter on a 23-23. Opponent starts with Titania, Voice of Gaia. Drawing and getting a counter. We'll start putting our counters on the Druid now too instead. Then, they'll take a quick meth break and play a Shia, Soul of the Wilds, making each of the creatures they play a land, which in turn doubles the Scutes, which also gains us twice as much life and half that many counters. You can see where this is going, can't you? You smell it in the air. Well, let me tell you something. This 1 turn took twice as long as the rest of the game. They started playing creatures, drawing 2 or 3 per creature, doubling the Scute Swarms, and because I had a forced trigger on each of them, I got the timer. Not Nissa causing all of this shit. I do with my little Authority and Cleric class combo. Do you know what happened when my timer ran out? Simple, really. The creature I put 69 counters on by hand got ignored completely, and then the rest were forced onto the Elk Shanna for some stupid reason. But don't worry about that, because our opponent, after drawing half of their deck, found the answer to the consoles, a Reclamation Sage, which caused 300 more triggers to hit the stack. You know what happened then? If you said the game offed itself, you'd be correct. But I also would accept other answers, such as Game 3. This opening hand is wonderful for once. We've got all our colors, Shadow Spear, ramp and draw from Joint Exploration, and some life game in the form of a Johnny and Authority of Consoles. Opponent leads with a mountain. We'll play our Pathway on the Hengegate side, and play our Authority of Consoles. Opponent islands into Orb of the Dragonkind. Let's Glacial Fortress, and then a Fountain of Renewal. Another island for opponent. Then they're going to play Swashbuckler Extraordinaire. I never knew this was a card, but I am all for it, from name to ability. We're keeping it simple by playing a Dreamroot Cascade into Shanna, Purifying Blade. Our opponent's going to play their commander, Zurgo and Ojutai. Do I call them both, or one of the names? I get to say it now. Every game I played, I got Mirari's Wake. Let's Seachrome Coast and play a Shadow Spear. Then we'll swing for 3. And use the extra mana to draw 2. Zurgo starts the turn by playing a Pillar Verge Pathway. Then they swing out, letting them get an Anticipation type effect because of their commander's ability. Second main, they play a Cultivator's Caravan, and then kills our commander with a Dragon's Fire. You know I have to. Double mana is too good. Let's play the Forest, and then a Mirari's Wake. Oppo plays a Dragon Speaker Shaman, and swings for 6, putting a card into their hand and passing. I think the best move is to empty our hand a bit, so let's play this Archon of Sun's Grace, followed up by a Daxos, blessed by the sun, making a Pegasus from the Archon, and finishing by playing a Johnny, the Great-Hearted, -2ing to put a counter on all of our creatures. Ojutai getting tricky here by playing Tyrant of Care Ridges, dealing 4 damage to the Archon, and then a charming prince, choosing to flicker the tyrant. So no matter how I block this attack, both of my flyers are dying. We do get to trade the Pegasus for their commander though. Also, PSA for everybody, pay attention when you play a vehicle. The game holds for you to crew, even if you and it are tapped out. Thank you. We're going to play our commander again. We'll uptick a Johnny to gain 3 life. And attack with Daxos. Passing it over, drawing 2 on end step. Holding up some to protect Shanna. Our opponent is going to play their commander again, and Minion of the Mighty. They're going to swing with the Tyrant to take out our Planeswalker. On their end step, let's joint Exploration, keeping both on top. We'll play the Planes we drew, following it closely with a Soul Warden and a Verdant Sun's Avatar, gaining all the life. We'll swing in with Daxos again, but we won't draw this time, only because if we need Zovin's Veto, we have it available. Opponent's going to play a Secluded Courtyard into a Sarkhan Fireblood, upticking him to make 2 red, and playing a Rapacious Dragon, making 2 treasures. They swing in with the Flyers and the Minion of the Mighty. The Minion also allows them to play Imrith, Desert Dune, then sacrifice a treasure to make Zurgo and Ujatai gain double strike, effectively doubling their trigger. And because we were intimidated by a 0/1, we didn't double block. Second main phase, and they hollowed Respite, flickering the Tyrant again, targeting Shanna. So let's just make her a little bigger by putting a counter on her with Light of Hope. We're going to play this Paradise Druid, gaining a bunch, and then attaching the Shadow Spear to Daxos. And because of his big rump, we get to swing in for free and gain even more. We'll draw 2 again on end step. They start by upticking Sarkhan to loot, and then they play a Dragon Turtle to keep Daxos tapped in. They'll move to combat, swinging in with all the dragons, minion triggers, and they put a Terror of the Peaks out, which, that's a literal terror. The Swashbuckler trigger lets them sack a treasure to give Ojutai double strike until end of turn again. This time, we're double blocking the minion. Ain't no way we're making this mistake 2 times. They hit us for a big old chunk and draw 3 cards from their dragon triggers. Second main, they're going to flashback Hollowed Respite, which offers 9 damage with the Tyrant and Terror. They target the Soul Warden. Did they mess up or what? Stop scooping! Thanks for watching! I'll be honest, the first round of games with Shanna sucked. They were so slow. I think the key is keeping a nice balance between saving some mana to refill your hand and having a couple cheap or passive ways to gain a bit of life. Gaining 20 doesn't mean much when you only have 2 mana left. Lord of the Rings should be out by the time this comes out, and I'm all done with the pre-recorded rolls, so not even I know what's coming next. Wish me luck, be safe, and try to be kind. I love you guys. Take care.